Hello, this is Mike Kaufman with EnviroGuard and GuardingOurEarth.com, and this is the third video in a series of videos that I've been producing here on YouTube regarding how you might increase your cool season grass hay production. And if at the end of this video you find that you would like some more information on this topic, you can head over to my blog at the link below this video, and you will find a blog post there with considerably more information on this topic and a number of additional tips that may help you to significantly improve the production of your hay fields and or your pastures. So please don't neglect to take a look at that blog post when you finish the video. Now, hay growers and livestock owners often spend a lot of time and effort working out the details of their fertilization and herbicide applications in order to maximize their yields. But often they are unaware of some simple steps that can be taken to address such issues. Knowing these techniques and how they can benefit you can be a good first step toward decreasing costs and increasing profits for your farm or your ranch. Now, I personally believe that irrigation can be a lifeline to profits for some farmers. And I understand that this is a topic that could create a bit of anxiety on the part of many smaller farmers. And of course, that's simply because of the perceived upfront cost of actually providing irrigation to your fields. However, that being said, it is an issue that should be given a bit more thought by many hay and pasture growers, simply because of the dramatic effects that prolonged drought or even short-term drought can have on your overall profits. In addition, even though irrigation isn't necessarily going to be an inexpensive thing to do, it may not be quite as expensive as you think it's going to be. When it comes down to it, whether you've got good soil or not, a long-term drought will affect your overall grass production. Now, with good quality soil and plenty of humus, these effects will be much less pronounced, even with long-term, prolonged drought situations. But that does not mean that there will not be a decrease in production. This is still a likely outcome, even with good soil. The decrease simply won't be quite as bad as it would be if you had low quality soil with very little moisture retention ability. Unfortunately for many farmers, soil humus levels are really not that terribly good, which means that soil moisture retention is minimal at best. As a result, even a couple of weeks without rain on a non-irrigated plot can be a significant drain on seasonal yield. Go a month or more and the results could be rather devastating in some cases. So it pays to consider whether investing in irrigation for your hay fields and or pastures might be a feasible option when long-term farm profits are given precedence over short-term expenses. Now, the cost of irrigation is significantly tied to the methods that you choose to use. If you've written off irrigation as too costly an upgrade for your farm, especially if you're a farm with poor quality soil where drought conditions can severely affect your yields and your profits, I really implore you to consider whether it would be worth brainstorming this issue a bit further. The truth is, there are many different methods for irrigating a field, and the costs of those methods vary greatly from one to the next, depending upon what resources you have available on your farm, where they're located, and how your farm is situated, and even where it might be located geographically. The truth is, it might actually pay off to hire an individual or company that is knowledgeable in this area of irrigation to evaluate your farm and your fields to see what the most cost-effective solution might be for you. You might be surprised at how much less it may cost to implement one irrigation method versus another. A small consulting fee that you might pay for this initial evaluation might be well worth it in terms of making sure that you get the right irrigation system for your needs and the additional profits that such a system might yield by helping you avoid low moisture yield issues. At any rate, it doesn't hurt to at least investigate your options. The internet is a great way to at least initially research some of the available irrigation technology. Now, raising the installation capital that's necessary to begin irrigating your fields could be rather costly. I mean, let's face it, no matter what option you choose, installing irrigation equipment won't be cheap. But there may be ways to mitigate those costs and save yourself some money and some hassle. If you don't have the capital resources available to pay for the project, or you don't want to or can't get a loan to cover the cost, there may be another option to consider in order to fund your project. Now, this idea is a bit out of the box, but it is worth considering. What I'm talking about is crowdfunding. Now, crowdfunding is sort of a recent trend that is taking the business world by storm. Basically, business owners or up-and-coming business owners pitch a new product or service or invention through a crowdfunding website. Visitors to that website browse through the listings and consider which ideas appeal to them or seem like feasible business plans or products or services that people would actually want. For instance, some visitors invest in ideas simply because they're directed at issues that they're passionate about, such as environmental protection or feeding the hungry, or even something less idealistic like high-performance auto modifications or something like that. The point is, many people invest in things simply because the idea strikes a chord with them. And depending upon the crowdfunding website or service that you choose to go with, many of the ventures that are looking for capital are ag or farming related. Consider how to pitch your irrigation venture in a way that will appeal to people. If your farm is using more natural, organic, and or maybe say grass-fed techniques, use that to your advantage. As much as I may be one who tries to follow a more natural approach to things on principle, I'm not oblivious to the fact that it also is a very chic thing to do. It's kind of the in thing right now. So you shouldn't be oblivious to it either. Consider how you can use that current trend to your advantage. Of course, don't be dishonest with people in order to get funded, but I mean, if you're really not using those techniques on your farm, please don't suggest to people that you are just to get money for your irrigation. But consider whether you might be more likely to get funded if you look toward more cutting-edge, innovative irrigation methods that may lead to better or more efficient farming in the future. In other words, maybe you could be kind of the guinea pig for a very new, innovative system, and people are oftentimes willing to invest in kind of these new and cutting-edge type improvements. So, if that's the case, if you're considering something like that or might consider something like that, then promote this aspect of your proposal. Then make it worthwhile for those who are considering investing. Try to offer something to your investors that will make them feel that they're getting something of value for their investment, but that may not necessarily cost you a lot to provide. Then it's a win-win for everybody involved. In fact, I would encourage you to read through some of the other proposals on some of these crowdfunding websites and see what other individuals or companies are offering as incentives to their investors. It might trigger some unique and possibly minimally expensive incentive ideas on your part, which might make this a much more cost-effective option for you. I would also recommend looking at those proposals that have been successful in retaining funding for their project and try to emulate what you believe they've done to be successful. Alternatively, look at those proposals that don't seem to be gaining much investment and try to avoid the things that you think they may have done or not done to hurt their chances. Truthfully, research is probably going to be one of the most critical pieces of this in terms of trying to use this method for capital development. But at the same time, this really could be an excellent way to fund your irrigation project without much money needed on your part. Now, that's the end of this third video in the series. I hope that you found this information useful. Again, there's considerably more information at the link below this video related to increasing your cool season grass hay production. I hope that you'll take a look at that blog post as well as many others on the website that I think could prove useful to you in increasing your profits and of course, obviously, prior to that, increasing your yields. And also hopefully increasing the health of your animals, as ultimately that is a concern, or should be a concern, for anybody who's raising animals, whether for whatever the purpose may be. But I hope this was useful. I hope you take a look at the blog post and have a great week. So take care and bye for now.